Hello everyone and welcome for another episode of the English One podcast. Today's guest is Justin Abbott. How are you, sir?
Doing good, man. How about you?
I'm very fine, especially that I was waiting for your winning. To be
Yeah.
honest, as I am not gonna lie, I am not following you for a long time just because you just recently came out on the YouTube for me
Hmm.
with the video like a Dorian Yates 2.0 or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And since that, man, I'm in love with your content, to be honest. I think that's we are missing on the content like that, to be honest, because everyone just talks about the shits don't even have a place in bodybuilding, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I like just the raw, just down to the nitty gritty bodybuilding. That's how I've always done it.
yeah, and I think that we are missing on that kind of content. But I think you can show us a little bit more about your like a daily routines and stuff like that. Just because
Yeah.
the training content, I think right now everyone knows like how hard you train.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
hard to
Yeah.
hide.
That's definitely something that's going to be in the works. Some more day in the life stuff.
Yeah, and to be honest, you are not showing us much about your career. It's very hard to find anything on your Instagram,
Yeah.
even when it comes to the even a shows you're doing. I was asking you about the podcast and not even know that you are in the middle of the like a you were like a that was the day of your show, I think,
Mhm.
or maybe day before the nationals or something like that.
Yeah.
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 And after you win, I just scratch my head and think, what the fuck I'm doing?
Yeah. It's all good, man. It's all good.
Yeah. How do you feel about winning your pro card? Because I'm not gonna lie, there's not many guys who can just win the card and do something with it.
Yeah. Um, I'm very happy with it. It definitely was a very emotional kind of like you put all this effort into it, you put everything, pretty much your whole life, like every decision I make is basically based around bodybuilding, as far as like career, I coach, or just like stuff I do daily. Like I don't do anything most of the time out of my routine, because we're just setting a routine. So you make so many sacrifices, you make so many decisions basically geared to your goals. And like I tell everybody, bodybuilding is literally all on you 100%. Like it doesn't matter if your coach gives you a plan, he can give you the best plan ever, the best training program. And if you don't follow it to a T, and it's on you. Like if you want to cheat on there's nobody here making my meals or telling me not to eat this or eat that. So, like I said, it's all on you. And when every decision is based, on one specific goal, when that goal actually comes to fruition, it's very emotional. It's very like, you pull your whole heart into it. You sacrifice time with family, events, all this, oh, I can't today, it's leg day. I can't go right now. That means I would have to pack 6 meals, or even like just the little things like people a lot of times like, hey, I want to go to, they just want to go somewhere and for a couple of days. It's like, all right, well, I got to take all my health supplements. I got to take all my other supplements. I got to take all my food. I got to make sure I find a place to train around that area. So it's like, it's everything is geared towards one goal, and when that goal, like I said, come to fruition, it's a lot of gratification, and it's very there's a lot of satisfaction in it. So it was a very emotional experience for me, especially on prejudging. But just because like I was in dead center of the first call out and never moved not one time. And people were moving all around me and stuff like that. So you already knew you got your pro card. So that's when it really just all hit me, just like a big cortisol release dump, and it just very emotional experience. And then having the people that believe in you 100% have always like, pushed you. And even like when you have like the prep goggles on, you're like, dude, like there's no way, like I look like shit right now. And then, your coach is like, dude, you just got prep goggles, calm down, everything's good, everything like that. So, and the people that are really close to you that have just been pushing you and have them there with you, and they believe in you forever. So it's very emotional. It's good to experience that with those people. And like I like to say, two people have heard me say this is I live to prove the people that believe in me right and not the haters wrong. Like I could care less about when anybody hates about me or all the negativity that comes with winning a pro card because once you're in the pro status, like you're now in the limelight and there's a lot of negativity that comes with that too. So you got to take that with what it is too, like with a grain of salt. So that's why I just focus on the people that believe in me and proving them right, and not like the haters that want to say this and that negatively about a professional athlete now. So like I said, it was a very emotional experience. I'm very happy with it. And now I'm just looking forward to getting on a pro stage and be able to see how I actually size up with the new pros. Like I say it all. I say it. A lot of people probably might not agree with it or whatever, but like once you win your pro card, now you're the worst pro so far because you've done absolutely nothing. So you're basically starting from the bottom. So I'm basically starting my journey again, a new journey, trying to move up in the pro ranks. Eventually make it to like the Olympia, which is really crazy to say like that's even possible. So it like I would say it hadn't really sunk in yet because it hadn't even been a week yet. But it was just it was a good emotional experience, like I said.
Yeah, and just coming back to the situation that you are basically from the first second of being on the stage coming to the middle, because
Mhm.
I'm obviously trying to follow everything that's
Yeah.
yeah, about you. So you had like a live stream or something like that on the Instagram
Mhm.
with the guys. I don't remember on what's Instagram, but that doesn't matter. But I just can't even like imagine how sick the feeling of being first from the beginning of the competition and knowing about that you probably gonna to win.
Yeah.
I how do you even like I don't know, place it in your head, just because this is something that
So
might screw everything.
yeah. So honestly, so my like I don't know why I'm like this. I'm not a real reserved person, but I am kind of a reserved person. So like I'm always wearing baggy clothes and like in the gym and stuff like that. I'm not like a show off person. I'm just like, do your stuff, and I like to say is um don't like don't look for like approval and stuff like that. Earn your respect, and that's kind of how I've always been. But like when I get on stage, it's something about it. I don't know. I don't know if it's just because like I know all my hard work has led to this, and it's like I've done everything possible, so it's a lot of confidence. But when I get on stage, I just eat it up. I love being on stage, and a lot of people will say like this, like the people that are close to me, they're like, you're literally the happiest when you're on stage. Which I never got into bodybuilding for the love of competing. I just love training and, just the discipline it gives you and learning a lot about yourself because bodybuilding will teach you more about yourself than any other sport. Because, like I said, it's the only sport you can't slack at all. Like if a football player, they go and win a game, perform in a game, and they win a game. What do they do after they win? They go out and celebrate, have some beers or after practice. They're not like super regimented like us. Like my 6, 7 meals a day are perfectly timed at, you know, 8 in the morning, 10, 12, 2, I'm training. And so like all of that, just like when you nail all of it, the confidence is there. That's what I feel like. And like I said, everybody says like you're just like a different person on stage. Like I'm kind of reserved. I'm not super reserved if you know me, but like if you don't know me at all, like you probably will just think like, oh, he's like stuck to himself. Like he just sticks to himself, does his own thing. But like when I'm on stage, it's just like I kind of come to life, like almost like a performer a little bit. So um, if you know, I know you know about bodybuilding, but people that don't, like when you come out like a first call out, like I was the very first person, period, but my number was the first one. So normally you go to the very end. So like you would just go across the stage and you'd be at the very end. And that's what I asked the guy that I forgot what they're called. Anyways, the person that tells you where to go.
The head
Anyways,
judge,
no, not the
yeah,
head judge. It was
like the
it's
stage liner,
the
like
expediter
yeah,
or
yeah, yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah.
They'll tell
That's
you where
good.
to go basically. And I was like, so do I need to go to the very end? He's like, no, go to the very middle. I was like, okay, it's kind of different, but I'll do it. So I went to the very middle, And literally from that point on, I never moved. So like every time somebody got moved, you could see it. You could actually see it in the video. You could just see my head. I was like, "Yep, yep." And then so like the whole first call out, I stayed in the middle. So like it was just like the confidence just kept building. The confidence kept building. And like I said, I'm kind of a performer, and like when you have confidence, you're gonna show it. So I feel like just showing that confidence helped me out, and then that feeling of just knowing like finally my all my hard work and all my what you want to say dedication has finally paid off, and finally get that pro card. Because like even I don't know if anybody on your side of the pond or wherever knows about like what went on, or if you even did. I don't know if you followed along with it because I didn't put it out on social media. But like a week and a half out, I actually injured my left leg, my quad, and there's pictures which I didn't post it. It was on my story. I wasn't going to say anything about it, and definitely wasn't going to say anything about it before the show because like it sounded like a cop out. But I like literally had in my rec film had like no definition in my left leg, like zero. It looked like my right leg was show ready, perfectly like everything was show ready, but my left leg looked like it had like gotten smaller. It had water on it. Like there was no definition at all. And so I literally didn't even sign up for the show until Wednesday before the show. So like 2 days before the show. Um, but it finally it came back to life a little bit enough, and nobody noticed it on stage. So so that was another big adversity to come over, like to overcome that. And so that was very emotional to like as bodybuilders, we everything like I said, everything is always in our control, or we try to control everything the best we can. But when something happens that's not in your control, it causes a lot of stress, a lot of emotional stress, a lot of anxiety and stuff like that. Because like I said, I didn't even know if I was gonna be able to do the biggest show of my life so far until Wednesday of the show, like before the show. So literally just a couple of days. So that added on top of it, just like when all the hard work paid off and then all that stress got relieved, it was like I don't know, it's just like a hurdle you overcome, and when you overcome something like that, it just makes you feel really good. And then, like I said, like I keep saying, it's a very emotional experience. Like when I come off stage, I just completely broke down. Like just like in front of everybody, I didn't care who was there, but I just completely broke down because I was like, my goal has finally been accomplished, and overcoming those hurdles and obstacles just made it that much better. So it was nice, and like I said, it was just the the level of just accomplishment that it was, from the whole journey leading up to those, like everything. I tell everybody, you're everything that you do for, let's say the last time I was on stage was 16 months ago. Everything I did from that point, but really way further than that when I started bodybuilding, led up to literally that exact, minute and a half, 2 minutes on stage for the first call out of nationals in 2023, where I never moved from dead center. So it was just like a really, really crazy. It's almost like hard to explain the feeling when that came over me after that, for sure.
Yeah, I just want to tell you that it shows. It shows,
Yeah.
there's so many people who are just shooting the words like it was something that is like it's the world for them and stuff like that, but they're not really meant it. And
Yeah.
in your case, it's just shown. It's just how you even the post you posted after you win the pro card. It was just it was like a short text about how it meant to you and about the journey you have to go through just to get this card. It was just I don't know how to put it into a word, but it was just it was just perfect. It was just like a you just know that you are that was something for you, yeah. And
Oh yeah.
this is and I love it just because so many guys win card and they basically it's for them it's like nothing to be honest because most of those guys not even gonna compete in the pro ranks or if they do they are probably no one's gonna know about them just because they're just gonna be like a on the last call outs to the end of their lives just because in the pro ranks you either love it and you give it all or you basically just wasted your time, and you're probably not going to improve ever again, just because
Mm.
it's not it's it's genetics and the hard work, and most people lack of the hard work, but
Yeah.
true hard work. This is why the first time I saw the Dorian Yates 2.0 video, I just thought, what a cocky guy who just called himself Dorian Yates 2.0. That's
Mm.
cocky. And then I watched your video, and I just thought, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Just the dedication, the hard work on just the workouts. You just watch it and you see it. It's like
Yeah.
it's not like you are just compare yourself to the Dorian. It's
Yeah.
just the passion shows. The passion shows,
Yeah.
and that's
That then
all.
that's where that came from. Is came from just Dorian stayed to himself. In the off seasons and stuff like that. He did the work day in day out. He didn't expect. He didn't want a lot of fame, publicity, and stuff like that. And I really don't. I don't really care for that stuff either. I like the recognition of the hard work, and when it pays off, and when it's time to show the hard work, that's cool. I like that when people notice it. But I mean, people weren't, nobody knew when I was eating, 7 meals a day, 8 meals a day, and training, or the times that, sometimes you don't want to train, but you got to go in there and train.
Yeah.
So nobody's really, no, not everybody's seeing that. Nobody knows when you're pushing food super hard in the off season for, like I said, 16 months straight, never missing a meal, the consistency, it's just, those things right there are what I feel like what sets people apart. Like there's like you're talking about, there's genetic freaks out there that can miss meals, that can eat junk, that can do all this. But when you're not blessed with the genetics like that, which I'm not saying I have terrible genetics, I eventually turned pro, but it's like those. I feel like the work sometimes is lost in just like today's bodybuilding. There's not a whole lot of that. Just like do it pretty much for yourself. A lot of people just want to do it for the Instagram, or they want to, I don't know, just they want to, a lot of people just want to talk the talk, and not very many people want to walk the walk. And you can tell the people that do walk the walk and the ones that don't. Like you take Brett Wilkins, for instance, he turned pro, and I'm sure, and he turned pro basically off of the genetics, 100%. He'll tell you that. As far
Yeah.
as in the classic physique, he turned pro pretty easily just because he had freak genetics. He didn't know how to eat or nothing like that. He met his wife, and I think she had already been a pro, or
Yeah,
maybe
she
she was about
was.
to turn pro. And she taught him how to eat. She was like, "You never eat, but you look like this." Well, he basically relied on his genetics to turn pro. But then when he fell in love with the process and fell in love with all of it, I mean, I think he turned pro at like 180, and the last time he was on stage, he was like 240. So he put on over 60 pounds of just solid tissue, and those are the people that, like I said, he has to eat really big too, just like me, to put on size. So like those are people that you can see in their day to day put in the work, put in, I've talked to him, privately and stuff like that. He guest posed here, in my hometown, and I went and picked him up at the guest posing, took him to my gym, or the gym that I train at. We had like, conversations about just loving the process. And if you love the process, then you'll get the results that you're eventually going to get. But if you don't love the process, you won't bodybuild for long. That's why you'll have people that will ask you like, "Hey, I want to do my first show. What do you think? Should I do a show?" And I'm like, it doesn't matter what you really look like. If you love the process,
Yeah.
then you do it. But I just want you to realize that you're gonna learn a lot about yourself on this so-called journey. You're gonna learn a lot about yourself. So um, I think it gets lost, like I said, in today's society on like social media. Like there's a lot of people that want to talk the talk, but they really won't walk the walk, especially
Yeah.
when it gets hard.
Yeah, and this is why I just love that people like you doing the content. Just because, like you said, the Dorians just stays quiet, but that was the different times. That was just a different area, and right now it is not possible to make a money,
Yep.
to make a living, like staying under the rock. This is not how you do in the bodybuilding in today's society. So you have to show how hard you work, and maybe motivate some guys, just
Yep.
because people like you, people like Stuart Sutherland,
Hmm.
like a young guys who are like give it all. Give it all. Just
Yeah.
you have to show it. You have to show people like the real bodybuilding, not that fucking bullshit about taking like a minimum dosage and eating like a 1.2 grams of protein per kilo and stuff like that, like a RAR training and stuff like that,
Yeah.
just because it's
Uh,
just a fucking bullshit. This is not real.
yeah.
This is not
Yeah.
real. So I
Yeah.
I hope that you're going to grow your YouTube big like the butcher
Yeah.
does.
Yeah. That's my goal. I have a couple things in the work right now that's gonna hopefully take off with that for sure.
Yeah, I was watching the Behind the Podcast Muscle, like the Behind the Muscle podcast to be correct, to say
Uh-huh.
exact the name, as well as like the Think Big Media, just because you are doing it recently with the guys like 7 days ago or something like that. So
Yeah.
I know your background a little bit, but I just want to know how you start, but not with like a why basically why do you start the lifts, and I know that you're starting with like a weights in your home and stuff like that, but when do you even like a house, maybe I put it into some easier way to just me to pronounce, just because I have a
You're
problem
good.
to put into a word. How's your workout looks like on the beginning, and how's your diet looks like, just because I was talking with oh my God, I can pronounce his name correctly, just because it's terrible. Not doesn't matter, but he 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 started off like a true bodybuilder, and most of the guys started like a more like a mm, some select style, so
Yeah.
eating a crab
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So what's your story?
So I kind of started, of course, I started with football and stuff like that. That's kind of what got me in love with the training. And I just noticed I had a real propensity to just go hard and just try to, I don't know, I've always just been a person that's always trying to progress. Like, and it's not just in bodybuilding, I try to progress in anything. And I feel like if anything that I do, I want to do it good. I'm very competitive, whether it comes down to hunting, I want to kill like the biggest deer, or, if I'm shooting, I want to shoot the best, or anything like that, especially with like football and stuff. Sorry, sorry about that.
Yeah, good.
But like I said, I started out with football, and I just kind of like, I think the first bodybuilding, like introduction to bodybuilding I had was I would go into the GNC because like if you're working out, I knew that I've heard or was told that you need to drink protein, you need to get a lot of protein in and stuff like that. So I went into GNC one time and I got like I think it wasn't Muscle Tech, it was anyways, it doesn't really matter who it was, but it was just a jug of protein. But what came with it was a workout thing, and it was Dennis James. And I just like went to the gym and just followed his workout. And so then I would drink a protein shake after and stuff like that. And then I just started doing my own research and stuff like that, and kind of fell in love with the process of what you need to do to make your muscles grow, or how much water you need to drink, or if you're sweating a lot, how much sodium you need. Like I fell in love with a lot of the minutia details on how to just be better, because like I just said, I'm very competitive. I want to be better, so if I can make myself better, then why would I not do it in like all aspects? So and then so like I was like the person that was in high school, like I figured out about like Greek yogurt, chicken breast, chicken tenders, and I heard that like beans and rice. Somebody had told me that beans and rice together was a whole protein, so I would have like three chicken tenders and a cup of beans and a cup of rice, and that was a meal. And then so like, but they wouldn't let me eat a whole meal in class. So what I would do is I would take a jug of a Greek yogurt and a bag of granola and put 4 scoops of protein in that whole thing of Greek yogurt, the 0% Greek yogurt, and then have the granola. And I would literally just every class I would eat like a third of that tub of Greek yogurt with granola in it, and then I would have my big my breakfast in the morning, and then I would have that chicken breast and rice and beans for lunch, and then before practice I would have like a shake or something like that. So I was already kind of figuring out like how much food I needed to eat. And like if I was growing, then I was good. Like I wouldn't eat much more than that. I would just make sure I ate the whole jug of the Greek yogurt and stuff like that during the day, and then have my 3 meals on before, the middle, and in the end. And then it eventually got to where I was learning that probably better to be like whole protein sources like beef and stuff like that. So then by the time I was in like a senior or something like that, I was like eating a meal in every class, like, or I'd have a shake with like I'm trying to think what it was, like it's like the Nature Valley granola bars or something like that, just to make sure I was getting my protein, fats, and carbs in like every 2 hours. And like, so that's where I started at. And that was even in high school. And then I got to college, and of course I was playing football. So we were doing, you know, practice in the morning, and then school, and then practice in the evening, and then film after that and stuff like that. So I had to figure out when I was going to work out, because I was still training like a bodybuilder, but I was also doing their workouts. And then so like they had like of course we had like a cafeteria for the football players. So like they would have like all this like of course they had burgers and cookies and everything, but they would also have like fish and rice, or this day was chicken and rice, or this day was like steak and rice, or steak and potatoes, or something like that. Well, I would take like my own food prep containers, like just regular Tupperware containers, and I would fill them up. So so I would have all my protein sources and stuff like that while I was going to school and playing football and stuff like that. So I was already doing all the bodybuilder things. I may have not been doing it, like super calculated, but I was making sure I was having, a certain amount of ounces of protein every couple of hours. Or if they wouldn't let me eat in class, I'd make sure I had a shake. Or I was never missing meals and stuff like that. And then it eventually got to where at one point the football team wouldn't let us work out besides their workouts. And that's when I quit football, because they wouldn't let me work out. So basically, and then from there it was bodybuilding.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here and smiling just because that wasn't actually that bad. Most of the guys
Yeah,
right now who are competing are not eating clean like that. To be honest,
yeah.
I was hoping about the stories with like eating chocolate and stuff like that, uh, but that
I
that
mean,
was
of course,
actually great.
I would always have like a cheat meal. I would always have a couple of cheat meals a week and stuff like that. But like I was making sure that I was getting, my chicken, my fish, my beef, my rice, my potatoes. It was all pretty much the bodybuilding meals, of course.
Yeah, but you've always been like that, that you have to eat a lot of calories just because even right now on the prep, you are eating like I don't know, probably like a 4,000 calories or something like that. That was a
Oh
lot
yeah, I
of,
never went under that.
yeah,
Yeah.
you've always have to do it.
Hmm.
Oh my God. So this is probably why you could eat a chocolate even like between the meals and stuff like that. And to be honest, that was probably something that's pushing you further and not holding you back.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. You work with Ty, like a Tyler Woosley, if I
Yeah.
if I say it correctly. Yeah.
Hmm.
So you work with him for 3, 4 years right now, something like
Three or
that.
four
Yeah.
years now. Yeah.
Yeah. So before him, you were doing everything by yourself, or you have like
No, I had
another coach?
for my first prep, I had like a local coach. Turns out he didn't really know a whole lot about what he was doing, but he got me in shape. I've never been a person that's been hard to get in shape, but it was just a local guy. A lot of times you go to a local person, it's just the easiest way to do it. And then I actually moved on from him, and just like I needed something more, somebody who knows a little more, who's more recognizable in the industry. So I actually got with Andrew Vu, which he has a bunch of Olympians and a bunch of pro athletes and stuff like that. And I just noticed it wasn't really like I wasn't a top priority pretty much. I mean, of course,
Yeah.
I'm an amateur, so like when he has a bunch of pros and stuff like that, of course you're not going to be a top priority. So, and then Ty, we used to actually do legs together every Sunday, and when he was competing, because he needed somebody to push him, and he was further along than I was, but he saw how rapidly I was coming up, like through my progression. And then finally, I was like, look, you're getting everybody in shape. I like, that's my biggest deal is coming in shape. You're doing things good. And I was like, why don't you just prep me? He was like, let's do it. And so we worked together since then. And we're pretty much on the same page with about every call that we make. So it works out.
Yeah, and you probably just get with him together that well, just because you probably like your approach to the diets and stuff like that is pretty similar than him. Yes.
Yeah. Our approach is very similar. I mean, it's bodybuilding. It's not rocket science. It's simple proteins, the carbs that work well for your body, the fats that work well for your body, what you digest well, and I think we've just found the formula that just works. So I mean, it's really not hard. So like a lot of times we'll make calls like say I send check-ins to him and I send him at like 6 o'clock in the morning. Well, he's kind of on a different time than I am because he works a little later, so he gets up a little later. And so like this prep, and other preps, more so this prep, but I would send him check-ins early or something like that. I know he's not going to get back to me until like 9 or 10. Well, we were kind of so in sync and on the same page where it started to be like, hey, I sent in check-ins, but hey, I'm going to do a higher day today, just because of the look that I saw, or the weight that we weren't trying to go under, or whatever it be. We just kind of were on the same page. It's like, yes, good idea. Now, ultimately, like if he were to message back and say, hey, let's just do a base day, then I would just do a base day or something like that. Or if I would be like, hey, I'm just going to do a base day today, and he'd be like, no, we probably need to do a high day, then I would listen. He has the ultimate say because he is the coach, and sometimes he sees things that I don't, or has something more in mind, or whatever. But we were pretty much in sync with a lot of the calls, like even down to protocols and stuff like that. We're pretty much on the same page with pretty much everything. So we kind of like, I would say it's like for coaching me, it may not be 50-50, but it's like 55-45. You know what I'm saying? It's very close.
Yeah, yeah. I was asking just because I have like a couple standards questions that I have asked everyone just to like make a reference for those people who are maybe thinking otherwise, and like realize them that most of the guys doing it that way. So first of all, how many protein is in your diet? Are you a low protein guy or a high protein guy?
About every meal that I eat right now has about 260 grams of raw weight, or not raw weight, cooked weight protein. About 265 grams. I think it's like 264 or something like that.
So it's
So
like a
very
60
high protein.
grams, 60, 70 grams of protein. Yeah,
It's probably,
am I
well, if
typing
you
right?
if you were to type it all out and put it all in the like a sheet, when you come like from indirect sources, from like all the carbs and all the fat and everything like that, I think like in the off season and probably in prep too, because it doesn't change way too much. It's anywhere from 500 to 600 on the high end
Yeah,
grams of
yeah,
protein a day.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a low protein guy. I think my body looks better on high protein.
To be honest, I think that everyone's body looks better on a high protein,
Yeah.
especially when you like mix it with like a gear and stuff like GH, IGF-1, insulin and stuff like that. So the basic shits, you basically turning on the machinery, and you need a little bit more protein to like make it little like a pound, to be honest, to even use
Yeah,
that
I
stuff.
agree 100%. I
Yeah,
know a lot of people are like carbs and fats are protein sparing, but I'm like, why would you not? Because like it's like the Chad Nickel approach. Like, why would
yeah,
you not have extra of it? Like, he told Ronnie all these supplements to take, and then Ronnie probably didn't need all those supplements, but why
yeah.
not? You know what I'm saying? Like if it's Ronnie probably didn't have to eat a pound of chicken breast every meal, but why not? Because like if you're gonna have, I would say that there's more. So like I like to say, like people like to say football is a game of inches. Well, bodybuilding is like a game of centimeters, millimeters. Like it's very small details that at the very end of it, it's big details that matter. Like if you're doing everything consistently, but if you can get just that little bit extra every day, that 1% better every day, you're going to be better than the person that didn't. So the person that's
Yeah.
eating, the 120 grams of freaking raw weight, and they're eating, just a little more carbs, I don't really see that equation adding up.
Yeah, I love the meal as such of approach. Like more is better.
Yeah, more is better.
Yeah, everyone
Yeah,
just you don't want to have like a less money. You always want to have to more money. The more is better. So
yeah,
this is like the same approach. I was speaking about the protein amounts with John Jewett, just because he is like more like a science-based
mhm,
approach, and I don't
mhm.
really believe in it. So I had like a little debate with him. So you can maybe watch it if you have some spare time. So, but
Yeah.
this is why I ask, just because every huge guy that I speak with, including even my coach, who is like a very like a large individual, like a loves high protein. There was not even a single competitor that eats like a 1.2 grams per kilo or something like that. Like this is,
Yeah.
yeah, that's not gonna happen. So how about the carbs? You're probably like a high carb guy. That's obvious.
So
But
like in the
what about
off
the fats?
season, all right, carbs and fats. In the off season, like my highest we got up to, which it was for an extended period of time. Um, and this is where a little bit of junk comes into, like muffins pre workout, or I was doing Pop Tarts just because they're very dense in carbohydrates and they don't take up a lot of space, or like Rice Krispie treats. But I think I was north about 1250 to 1300 grams of carbs on a regular day, and that was my whole off season. And then like this prep, there wasn't one day on this prep that I went under 500 grams of carbs, and my high days were around 1,000. So like it's a lot of food, but it's a lot of clean food. But like I said, in the off season, a little dirty food does come in, like jam and stuff like that. Um, but as far as fats, it's still a pretty high fat too. Like every single one of my meals right now still has added fats, and that was even in prep, and then especially in off season, like a meal might look like four whole eggs with lean ground beef, rice with a little bit of almond butter on an English muffin or something like that. Like that might be a meal. Or um, I'm real big on oils just because they're easier. They're a
Yeah.
little bit easier to. They don't have as much fiber as like avocado or something like that. But I will switch them up. Um, but like it wasn't uncommon for each meal to have 30 grams of oil in it. You know, or have like salmon is normally like my last meal when I like it. Sometimes I don't really care for it, but sometimes like it's good. It's appetizing, especially like in prep. But if you have 260 grams of salmon, it's like 30 grams of fat.
Yeah. And this
Yeah.
is this is what's very curious for me, just because I just tend to see the like the different approach when it comes to the Europe and the over the seas like a state people from the United States and stuff like that.
Mhm.
You guys like to combine a lot of carbs with a lot of fats, and we here in Europe just,
Carbs.
yeah, just carbs, like
Yeah.
a as less fat as you can, and
Mhm.
as little fats and as much carbs as you can eat, or we just bump it up the fats on the like a non-training days or something like that.
Yeah.
Basically,
Mhm.
just because for example, me like on a high day, I am using the Lantus, so it's like a
Yeah.
base insulin, so
Yeah.
it's not probably not a good idea to combine it with a lot of fats, but I don't get it how you can stay in shape like you,
Mhm.
pretty much whole off season eating like a over 1,000 grams of carbs and like a probably like a 150 to 200 grams of fat.
Yeah,
It's like
about around
crazy.
150. So the theory behind it is, so a lot of people think insulin is only going to shuttle certain nutrients into those certain cells. So that was kind of my dilemma too, because I've used Lantus in the off season too and stuff like that, or even Humalong around training and stuff. But I think once your body, so how you train dictates a lot of that. How nutrition is going to be
Yeah,
partitioned. Okay, so say I have a pre-workout meal. It's 2 scoops of isolate, 180 grams of cream of rice, a package of Pop Tarts, 100 grams of banana, and then 25 grams of almond butter. That's a pretty substantial amount of fats, right? It's
Yeah,
like 25 grams of almond butter. It'd be like what 15 or 20 grams of yeah, like
50,
20
like a
grams of fat, whatever.
more like a
Yeah,
50.
yeah, something like that. So I, a lot of people don't realize that your muscles actually have storage for triglycerides too.
Yeah, a little
But
bit.
if you're training so hard that you're using those calories, it's not straight like, oh, put the carbs in the muscle, put the fat in the fat. You know what I'm saying? Because you can actually turn a lot of carbs into fat also if you're not utilizing those carbohydrates, in your training and stuff like that. I think that a lot of people where they make the mistake is their energy expenditure just not high enough. Like they're not taking the walks and like because I'll keep at least 10 to 15,000 steps and cardio in the off season just to make sure metabolism right, hunger
Yeah.
stays up and stuff like that. And I was under the assumption too that if you're going to use insulin or like Atlantis or something, you would want to keep your fats on the lower end. Well, if you think about it, you're using those fats as energy source while you're not training, which is going to be sparing to the building muscle, like putting protein in certain spots and stuff like that too. So I think that I think the old theory, the old science behind insulin and fats not going good together is a little outdated just simply because your training is going to dictate how nutrients is partitioned. I don't think that so when I say that, I don't mean that that can't happen, but I just think if you're training hard enough, you're using those calories that you're not going to just straight partition it into fat because what are you doing, especially when you're using growth hormone? Growth hormone is actually releasing nutrients into the bloodstream to repair muscle tissue, right? So if you're already using growth hormone, you're already releasing byproducts such as fat substrate from your fat. That's why a lot of people think you can use growth hormone and stay a little bit leaner, which I've seen the case of that.
Yeah.
So when you're using insulin combined with that, you're literally what happens in the I know this is getting way too down in a rabbit hole, but like what happens in the mitochondria when fat gets pushed into the mitochondria, it's used as energy source. So realistically, fat is just an energy source. So
Yeah.
what are you doing when you train? You're using fat as an energy source too, while you're recovering between sets and stuff like that. So that's how I see it. Maybe I'm just lucky with that, but I know that like Stu, he uses quite a bit of fats too. And where I think because my coach was coached by Matt Jansen. So a lot of his learnings and teaching has come from, having Matt Jansen as a coach and
Yeah.
saw what he did with him. And Matt's a really big fat guy too. He loves fats,
Yeah, I've
especially
noticed
when
it.
you're trying to move up. You can get like say you have a cup of rice, one cup of rice. I don't really know. Well, so let's say 300 grams is like what 85 grams of carbs or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
So you have that much, and it's like this, but you can literally have a little bit like a tablespoon of olive or a couple tablespoons of olive oil and have the same amount of calories. So I think it's more of just being able to get those calories in, no matter what they really are, as far as like fats versus carbs, as long as you have enough carbs to fuel your performance. Full to keep the muscle full, fuel the performance in the gym, and fuel the recovery through glycolysis and stuff like that. So I mean, it worked for me. I don't really know, how my body's gonna respond after this prep. Not having to go so low of food and stuff like that. And I think it's just once you get a certain muscle mass, I would have to eat. If you think about it, if you have 150 grams of fat, what is that? Almost 1,500 calories, right? Almost 2,000 calories. So if you have that many calories, if I were to take all those fats out, then that means I would have to eat, double that, that same amount of calories and more carbs. And I just think it would be almost unbearable. And I think it would mess with a lot of your insulin sensitivity too. And I think fat has um, another component to it too of kind of keeping people a little more insulin sensitive because if you have fat, it kind of slows down the digestion. If you were to speed the digestion up a little bit, you're shuttling those carbohydrates so quick that it can actually mess with your insulin sensitivity and the insulin response. That's how I kind of look at it. And I'm more of a high protein, high carb, and for my clients, not such a high fat, but a good balance of them because you got to think also you want to keep your cholesterol, your good cholesterol, healthy too. And how are you going to do that with good healthy fats? So the fats that I'm eating are not bad fats; they're good fats.
Yeah.
And especially us bodybuilders taking anabolics and stuff like that, you're already smashing your cholesterol a lot of the times, anyways.
Yeah,
So
of
if you
course.
can do something to alleviate that, I think it helps. And a lot of people look back on it like, oh, you need healthy fats, for your hormones and stuff. Well, we're taking care of that. We're putting our own hormones in our body, so you don't really need it for that. But I think there's a good balance, and once you find that balance for you, which for some people it may be a lower fat approach because they can't handle a lot of fat, so they get fat quick. Or it may be where they're higher fats and lower carbs just because they get drowsy on carbs. Eat a large carb meal. A lot of times it's gonna cause you to be drowsy or tired or sluggish or something like that, where fats may not. And I think it's just situational dependent. And I do see like when I do see the more on the UK side, like when somebody's like carbing up for a show, they may eat 2,000 grams of carbs, a couple, days in a row before their show of just like cereal. So it's like low fat and stuff like that. And cereal's easy to get in, it's easy digested. Um, but I think if they maybe were to pull it back a little bit, they because like me, I have to kind of watch my waist. If I just like completely cram a whole lot of food, my waist gets distended and stuff like that. Where you shouldn't, as far as fats, because it's a smaller food volume. Um, but those fats also, when you get depleted, you're depleting the muscle of glycogen and fat. Because like I said, a lot of people don't understand that your muscle does have a triglyceride storage in there as well. So some people even fat load into a show. So basically, it allows for those carbohydrates to stick a little better. So like when we're loading for a show, we'll go high carbs, and still added fats to kind of let those carbs so called stick. If that makes sense, because if we don't, my body will just burn through them like crazy.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Oh yeah, of course. But I don't mean like a I let's say like that. I don't care about the fats. I don't believe that combining fats with insulin actually is something that makes you uh, fat in like a practically. But
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah.
that if you are eating a lot of carbs, especially
Uh-huh.
when you are using a growth hormone, just because the growth
Yeah.
hormone changes your metabolites, so
Yep.
it's release more of the triglycerides into the bloodstream
Mm-hmm.
just to use it for the energy. So eating a lot
Mm-hmm.
of fats with that may potentially help you with less burning it off. So it's probably going to
Mm-hmm.
store a little bit more, especially that you're topping up your glycogen storage over the day. So it's probably a little bit easier to get
Mm-hmm.
fat with that amounts of fats and carbs. But like you said, I perfectly agree with you. It's all about the calories, just because your
Yeah.
calorie
Yeah.
demands is so high that if you are not eating those fats, probably you have to eat like Roman Fritz, like almost 2,000
Mm-hmm.
grams of carbs every day. So it's basically
Yeah.
probably that. Just because, to be honest, the fats are even worse in your insulin sensitivity, not improve
Mm-hmm.
it. Just because most of people thinks that carbs as are the like a reason to worsen your insulin sensitivity, and it's not. It's probably
Mm-hmm.
the fats. But yeah, I totally agree with you. Like
Yeah.
some people, like for example, you say about like the butcher before, like he is like an individual who needs a lot of food. So if he is not eating probably like 150 to 200 grams of fats every day, I don't know how many carbs he have to eat. It's probably like
Yeah.
3,000 or something like that. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just the personal needs. And I know that
Yep.
Matt likes his fats, just because I know a couple guys who are working with him, even from Poland, and it's
Mm-hmm.
basically a good idea. But this is just like something that's always I see it always with the guys from the US. And
Mm-hmm.
if I see the protocol from the Europe, for example, Roman, it's always like a low fat and as much carbs as said. That was curious for me why. Okay, but next, you are working with time, but the training aspects is taken off by the Cuba.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to ask you why. I probably know the answer just because you are a
Mm-hmm.
freak and you're doing too
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
But why Cuba, first of all? And
Mm-hmm.
uh, if, before the Cuba, you are doing the training by yourself, yes?
Yes.
Okay. So why Cuba?
So pretty much Cuba, I followed him. So I first started out when I got really serious into bodybuilding, like stopped playing football, everything like that. The first person I looked at was trained by JP.
Yeah.
So I was on his website. I was looking at all this. I was learning about push pull legs, programmed it myself. But I just like as it kept going on and stuff like that. Then you see Kuba and stuff like that, and I really resonated with his training as far as like I was the guy that could barbell row 400 pounds, 500 or 405 and stuff like that, but never really had a good back. And so like I think I was getting to where I was just moving weight and stuff like that. Well, I finally broke it all down myself and got really really strict, really found exercises that I connected really well with, and then really try to progress those with the exact same progression as far as the exact same rep scheme, just stuff like that. And so then, like Cuba is like pretty much we're on the same um, spectrum as far as those variables and controlling those variables. But I'm a person that is always trying to do more. So like even when we're trying to get like if I'm in a prep, I'm trying to get lean. Like that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to push, do this, or I'm trying to grow. I'm trying to grow. So like it was it was to the point to where mentally I couldn't say like if I thought of an exercise or something like that, or like my whole training program was the same for 16 months. I did the same exact workout, same exact for every single body part, stuff like that, for like 16 months. I'm talking about in a row. And so I tried to carry that on through prep. Well, if you know, the leaner you get, the less food you have coming in. You're not eating 1,200 grams of carbs every day.
Yeah.
You're not eating 150 grams of fat every day. So your recovery just gets diminished. Well, I'm a person that I don't care. I will run myself into the wall, but I will feel like complete dog shit. And I don't want to feel like dog shit. And then it just comes to overthinking. And I just got to a point where I didn't want to fucking think no more. I said, you tell me what to do and I'll go in and train. You'll get my numbers. Like I'll send you all my stuff. I'll show you what time you're doing and you just tell me what to do. And so basically it was just him pulling me back and me just saying, all right, you know what? I'll do it. And that's pretty much it. That's why I kind of wanted it with Kuba. And I just trust him. I see the athletes he's putting on stage and stuff like that. And I watch all his videos and listen to his advice, and it all clicks, it all resonates. So I was like, look, you just tell me what to do, and I'll do it.
Okay, so what are you gonna focusing right now on? First of all, are you going to do your pro debut right now, or you wanted to give it a time and just prepare for it for like a next year or something like that? Yeah, probably next year, just because in this year probably there's no pro shows
Yeah,
already. But
there's no shows this year,
yeah,
anyways.
but
But
at the beginning of the year, or you have to you do you think? Oh, let's put it like that. Do you think that you are ready for the pro stage, or you have certain body parts that you feel that you need to improve before you go to the pro stage?
well, based on my feedback, which we won't get into all of it, which is kind of retarded. My feedback was be more conditioned. So we'll just leave it at that. But and then my next feedback was you have plenty of size, you just need to refine. I think there's certain areas of my physique like quad sweep, just more quad sweep. I have big enough legs, I just need more sweep.
Yeah.
I would like more lower lats. And I honestly think just because my shoulders are pretty dominant, that I just need a little bit more in the arms. Um, but we're trying to plan for like mid 24, maybe late 24, just to have enough time to have a decent enough offseason. And if I don't feel like I've made the progress that I needed to, then I'll push it back. Like I'm not scared
Yeah.
to take another, year off if I need to. But with my feedback, it was that I didn't need any more size because at 5'9" and I was about 252 on stage. That's pretty top level pro caliber. Weight wise,
Yeah.
how much more I can put on, it's just going to depend on putting in the right areas. Like it does, like a little more quad sweep would make my waist look a little narrower. A little bit more in the arms would just make the front double a lot more appealing. Just little things like that. Just depends on, like I said, my leg injury. I'm working with a couple of people on that to get that kind of fixed up. And what we're figuring out is it's more about um, imbalances otherwhere that I've just been kind of compensating for. And eventually it just kind of took over to where some areas, some muscles in the leg got kind of weak, where I was just being hard headed and training anyways when other stuff was kind of hurting and stuff. So just to get that fixed, if I can get that all sorted out, and have like a decent enough growth phase where I feel like I put on enough tissue in those areas, then yeah, we'll go for it. But if not, if I feel like it needs to take a little longer time, then I will. That's the good thing about Ty. He's very upfront, very honest, and I have a lot of people in my corner that are very honest and upfront. And it's not like a negative honest; it's a constructive honest. Like, look, you do need to be a little better because now you are in the pro leagues. Like it's not, you're not going up against amateurs anymore. And if you want to be competitive, you got to bring something that's pretty nutty to the stage because
Yeah.
these guys are freaks.
Yeah, of course. And it's good to have like those people who gonna tell you just the straight truth. Like you're a suck
Yeah.
man. You have to wait a couple of years. It's
Yep.
better than just saying yeah, you're the greatest. You're the
Yeah.
greatest one.
Yeah. Like even
Yeah.
like my mother is like that now. Like she's like a Nick Walker mom. She like she
Yeah.
she's very she's very transparent. It's like, this shot doesn't look as good. These pros are pretty good. Like you might need to change this up a little bit or something like that. Like she thinks she knows more than anybody now. But
That's
so
great.
like it's good to have people like that. Like I said, like you were talking about the live stream that I was on, Chris Fon. He's
Yeah.
one of my best buddies in the industry, and he will speak his mind. It's like, dude, that looks like dog shit. You need to bring that up or something like that. And or like even when I was like, damn, like we're peeled. Like he's like, bro, you could be a little more. You could be a little more. A little more peeled. Stuff like that. So it is good having those people to be honest with you.
Yeah, those kind of people are gonna push you further than anything
Yep.
else.
Yep.
Yeah, so
100%.
definitely. You say about your midsection, and I want to ask about it. Do you do something for that, like a vacuum or like an extra
Yeah, I
ab
I
works?
do vacuums. I don't train abs at all.
Oh,
I have really good detailed abs. Even like obliques and stuff like that. I don't train them. I think it's just from years of just heavy ass lifting. Honestly, if you want me to be honest, and just being a white boy, kind of just kind
yeah.
of how it is. It's not super wide. I could do better in my posing, like a front relaxed. I could because Nick Walker and we even kind of spoke about it. It's just there's certain little things that you could do to make that better. And like I said, I'm working on it, so it is what it is.
Yeah, but why you don't train them? Do you don't believe that if you're gonna strengthen them up, they're gonna like be more tightened up or something like that? Because I know that Nick are actually doing a lot of ab work.
Who?
Nick Walker.
He just does a couple sets of hanging leg raises after his workout.
Yeah, but is he not doing it every day or something like that? I am more than sure that I even make a video about it. He says that he is not doing any vacuums, but he do a lot of ab works.
Not that I know of.
Maybe I'm missing something, but I believe that he is doing something. But for example, like Sarchev, Mila Sarchev, he always believed in doing a lot of ab work. And even Roman Fritz, like lately, putting a post when he compares his midsection, he's doing a lot of vacuums and a lot of ab work. He is doing abs every morning and then after every workout session, or at least one of the two, because he's training twice a day.
Yeah.
Do
Well,
you,
here's the deal that I see about abs is there a muscle? Okay.
Yeah.
So when I'm flat and depleted in my check-in pictures, my obliques and everything like that are sucked in. They're super small. Everything's striated. But when I fill out, you can't pick where the food goes to. So it's going to go to your obliques, and it's just like Fuad is. He's under the same assumption. Like he was like, I wish that I could go on stage flat because my midsection would be super tight. Which mine's not terrible. I have a decent midsection. It's not like it's crazy, but it's just my structure. That's all there is to it. I can't
Yeah, of course.
undo my structure. I can do everything I can and do vacuums every single day, which maybe I wasn't as because when I get up in the morning, I want to get straight on cardio, get done with cardio, and eat. I can be maybe little more strict on just doing it every single morning, which I have been doing it since every morning after the show. It's just going to be little things like that, and then posing to my strengths, hitting poses that work great for me, and then just nailing them, every single day. Like I work with Martin Fitzwater on posing, so it's just going to be just working poses out and figuring out, how to blow out or how to contract certain ways or something like that.
Yeah, I basically asked just because my midsection on the off season are just freaking like a blob. It's
Mm-hmm.
blah, and I know that every just right before the show, my midsection is pretty tight. Even some people says that I supposed to do like something like a classic physique or something like that. Even though I am like probably 50 pounds over the weight
Mm-hmm.
limit, but it doesn't matter. But you see, and I've always was scared about training the abs, especially with weights, just because
Uh-huh.
I was scared that it's basically a muscle, like you say, it's gonna grow. But right now I am doing it every day, and I am just not every day, every other day, every other training, and I am just thinking about it. If
What are you doing?
it's just a couple like leg raises, and then just a couple crunches or machine crunches, but with a little tiny weights, just even less than my body weight. Just
Okay.
nothing crazy, nothing crazy. Just a little burning up. But that's it. Yeah, like, but I am trying to do something just
Yeah.
because I'm scared that if I'm just gonna let it go, that it's gonna weaken up and my belly is gonna be up here. So this is why I
Yeah.
ask. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, in the off season and kind of like after the last show, and then even my last prep, I was doing some kind of abs like after every session, but I literally noticed no difference between doing that and doing nothing. So it's kind of like I don't know. And then it gets to a point in prep where you're just tired and shit. You don't want to do it anyways.
yeah,
So I may start implementing it back, but it's just kind of like as I feel needed. Um, Especially like after training, we've eaten all that food and everything like that. You're kind of extended anyways. But in the mornings, I've been working on my vacuums and stuff like that, and I would do them, especially in prep, at least a couple times a week. But I really want to get to where I'm doing them every single day and just see what that impact has, because I think that impacts me a little more than training abs, if you want to be honest with you. So that's just my philosophy on it.
yeah. I am believing in vacuums too, and I'm trying to do it every day. But I am not gonna lie, I am basically lazy as fuck, and I
Yeah,
this is something that's
sometimes
hard.
it just happens. You get
Forget
up in the
about it.
morning or you got something to do. Like this morning, I had
Yeah.
something come up. It's like you just kind of forget.
Yeah, but you see, I can walk up in the middle of the night just to do my cardio because this is something that I never skip.
Yeah,
Never. I can stay to the to the late hours just to do my cardio. But on the vacuum side, I just say, eh, I'm gonna do it tomorrow. So this is why this is crazy for me, just because I do the vacuums every day when it's like 6 weeks out, for
mhm.
example. The same as posing. I am doing it twice a day, 3 times a day, 4 times a day sometimes. But when it comes to off season, I am just fucking lazy. Just a lazy piece of shit. Just eat, train, doing my steps, which I
Yeah,
am doing for the first time in my life, to be honest, in this off season, and doing the cardio, which I'm doing every like 365 days a year. basically,
Yeah,
just because.
I like to do my cardio too. I do my cardio every single morning. I feel like
Yes,
that,
especially
but
off
that's part
season.
of my routine. So if you can get the vacuums into your routine, then it'll work out. I think it's just something you just gotta just do. It's one thing, one like cardio. When you first started bodybuilding, you never did cardio in the morning. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
But you just put it in your routine, and it becomes your routine. So that's what I've been doing. As soon as I get up in the morning, use the bathroom, do the vacuums, and jump on my cardio. That's what I've been doing so far. So hopefully it works out.
Yeah, I am not gonna take you much more time. I just wanted to ask you, what do you think about those health phases, those like deloads every 4 to 5 weeks and stuff like that? Do you believe in it? Do you really believe that this is something that is necessary, or do you do it only if you need it? So, if, for example, if your blood works comes out really bad, you're doing something like a bridge or something like that with your cycles, or do you do it as straight?
No, I think it's based on blood work. I think your health phases, what people call health phases, I mean, realistically, it's not really much of a health phase because a lot of times once your markers get in range,
Yeah,
you're like, all right, time to get back on. So you're really not in a healthy range for very long. And I think a lot of the numbers that we're looking at aren't based on bodybuilders, anyways, or based on normal
yeah, of
people.
course.
So a little bit of elevation is not terrible. I do like to see numbers, real close, if not in range. Of course, specific numbers for sure in range. But I believe there is beneficial in time off. And when you take time off, you take a little bit of I still train super hard, but I may pull back volume just a little bit. Maybe instead of
Yeah,
three sets, I may do 2 sets. Then listen to your body. But as far as like deloads, I've never done like a deload ever in my life. Um, if I'm gonna take a deload, I'm gonna take a week off the gym, and I'm not gonna
yeah,
go back to the gym. I'm not gonna step in the gym because if it gets to that point, it's not really about my body hurting. It's more mental. It's like if I don't want to go to the gym, something's wrong. So that's how I see it, and that's kind of how I listen to my body. And like I said, I'm not going to go in the gym and do 25% or 50%. I'm just not going to go at all because I feel like it's a waste of my time.
yeah. And I have the one more question about your training, just because I wanted to ask you before, but I just forget. Uh, do you like follow like something like a logbook or something like that, or do you
Yes.
just okay, okay, that's enough for me. That's enough for
Yep.
me.
I'm
I
a logbook person. I feel like because a lot of people are like I don't need a logbook because I know what I did last week. It's like, oh, you remember exactly what you did on your third set of laterals with 45. But it also gives you a target. If you had like I know going into the gym because I look at well I do it on my phone now because it's for Cuba, so I can just type it up and send it. So I can copy and paste it and send it to them on WhatsApp. But it used to be a logbook, so I come in before I go to the gym, I get my logbook out and I would write the numbers that I'm supposed to beat that day. A lot of people can't handle that because there's a lot of anxiety in that. If you know that you gave it all you fucking had last Saturday or last leg day or whatever, and on hack squat, and you almost died getting 8 plates for 12 reps, you know that you need to go in there and get 13. And you're like, well, I don't know if I can do that. Well, it gives you something to aim for. And you also know based on those numbers whether whether you're progressing or not. If you're not, I feel like if you're getting stronger theoretically and you're keeping every other variable the same, then you're getting better and you're getting bigger. Because I feel like a stronger muscle is a bigger muscle most of the
of
time
course.
if you're doing everything the same. That's how I see it, and it's a very good standardized look overall at what's going on with your, especially if you're looking in the mirror too and you're seeing everything progress that way too, and you're getting stronger, you're doing something right. So it's just like it's a thing that just keeps me going because like I'm not a person, I don't like just going into the gym and oh this exercise looks cool today or this exercise is like no like this is what I'm doing today. I already know what I'm doing today. I already have it in my mind. Like this set of incline Smith, that's my target set today. Like that's the set that I have to fucking man up and get today. That's how
Yeah,
I train.
I ask is
Yeah.
because I was log booking my lifts for a good 10 years. But this off season is the first time I am not doing it. And to be honest, I love it. I just remember
yeah,
my basics shit like squats, like presses and stuff like that, and everything else I just do it as hard as I can. I don't
yeah,
really
yeah,
care. I don't really
yeah,
care. So and I
yeah.
love it. This is why I ask. I think that for most of the people, like 85% at least, is necessary to logbook. Just because you just mentally can't like break this wall. You just go to the gym and you think it's too hard. But if you are logbooking, you saw that you do this last week, you can squeeze one more rep or like a just a little bit like a Jordan Peters says like a those biscuits plate
Yeah. Oh
on
yeah.
the bar. You just can you just know it. So yeah. And last question for today, and that's gonna be the stupidest question for today. And that I even ask you this question on your YouTube, but you never answer me just because you probably think that I am just a fucking moron. Because for a long time I thought your name is Justin Wyatt.
Uh-huh. It's just an
Because
habit. Yeah.
yeah, I know that right now. But even on your Dorian Yates thumbnail, that was just like a little bit Justin Wyatt. It says
Because
Justin Wyatt.
my videographer didn't even know it.
Yeah, because your Instagram is Justin Wyatt, and I wanted to know why. What's the Wyatt means?
The Wyatt is my middle name. That's just I made that Instagram a
Okay.
long time ago, and it's funny. I don't know if y'all are big into like or even know anything about like Western movies over there,
Oh no, no.
like John Wayne or anything like that. Well,
Yeah, I
there's
know
a
that
movie
the
called
actor.
Tombstone, and it's like a Western movie, and this will show you how. And you're not from over here, so you don't know. Like Arkansas is like country. It's like
Yeah.
country, like hunting and fishing and all that kind of stuff. So my dad actually named me after a character in that movie of a like an old Western movie named Wyatt Earp. So that's just my middle name. So a
Okay.
lot of people know me as Justin Wyatt. They don't know Abbott at all.
I was trying to figure it out what that could mean. Like was W stands for I don't know like worldwide or something, and
Nah.
I stands for and that was something that I just always wanted to know. Okay, now I know I can sleep peacefully right now. So
Okay, cool.
thank you so much for today. And for those of you who are living under the rock or just simply not following the like amateurs people just because you are a pro for 8 days, if I'm counting, no, 6 days, if I'm counting right.
6 days. 6 days.
Yeah, six
Yep.
days right now. So probably not a lot of people knows you just because, for example, I mean not a lot of people from Europe just because you
Yeah.
like nationals is a big thing in the USA, but
Yes.
in the Europe we basically if someone's not following closely, they don't even know that this is like a something. So
Yeah.
so for those people, I hope that much more people are gonna know you. So
Yeah.
every little link to your YouTube, Instagram, and stuff like that is gonna be below in the description
Awesome.
box and the email for the coaching because I know you are a very passionate coach as well.
Yep.
So
Yep.
for those who want to work with you, you're gonna find it below.
Yep.
And well, I just wanted to wish you the best and I wish you a Merry Christmas just because it's 9 days till the Christmas right now.
That's
So
crazy. That's crazy.
yeah, it is.
Yeah, it'll be the first good food I get to eat because I miss Thanksgiving. And like Thanksgiving and Christmas food are my two favorite types of food. So I'm gonna thoroughly enjoy Christmas for sure.
Yeah, because I saw that even after the competition, you on the live stream you eat like a cream of rice.
Yep. Yeah, I'm just on I'm on my diet. It's just how I am. I'm just programmed like that. These foods I know work for me. They don't make me feel like shit all the time, and I honestly don't know how a lot of people, like especially just like the normal, especially I know y'all probably judge us more. Like the American diet is just shit, and it's just like I don't see how people really just you'll eat fast food 3 or 4 times a day. I just can't see how they do it.
Yeah, and I don't think it's that way anymore just because I think the fast food eaters are everywhere right now. It's not only the
Yeah,
USA. So
Yeah.
So it's maybe that was 10, 15 years ago, but not right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you once again. And for those of you who are sticking with us to the end of the video, just please subscribe, share it, just because I'm from Poland. So probably for everyone outside my country is gonna be a very hard to find this podcast, just because the YouTube have its own algorithm and it's very not friendly for those outside the USA's. So please share if you know someone who's going to be interested in it. And that's it for today. So thank you so much and see you. Maybe
Hey man, I appreciate it. I'm
after
definitely gonna
your
share it too.
yeah, and maybe after your like the pro debut, we can speak about it. Uh, Probably after all of the guys who's gonna do it right before me, like guys from the Think Big Media and stuff like that. Just because yours like I I thought that was a very good podcast, just because your mentality is like sticking with them very,
Yeah.
very good, especially with the guys like like those people. So thank
Yeah.
you once again, and
Yeah.
see you later.
No problem, man. I appreciate you having me on.